Welcome back. We continue our series into the death investigation of former WIU graduate Tyler Smith, who was found dead in Galesburg last September. Today we break down more of what the family feels has been a hard time trying to get justice for their son.
It was just error after error after error after error.
Tyler Smith's parents say more than a year after their son was found dead in Cedar Creek in Galesburg, they continue to hit roadblocks with the police department.
If we would have known you weren't looking for video, you can be sure that I would be here, his dad would be here, our family would have been here, his friends, the whole community we live in would have been here doing your job.
Smith's parents say they have more than a dozen claims they feel investigators didn't care about, like finding Tyler on the Casey's and ATM surveillance video, which Tyler's parents say police told them they didn't see him on, even after having it for 3 weeks. Next on their list of claims, throwing away evidence like Tyler's clothes, shoes, the beer can, and release the rest of his belongings in 4 days. Sandra Halsney says no DNA was tested and no x-rays or fingerprints were done. And she claims police first told her no business checks were done at the Casey's, but later police said there was.
If you didn't want to do your job and you were just plain lazy, what better way to be lazy than to have somebody else come and do that job?
The family says these marks by Tyler's ankle look like marks similar to a stun gun or taser, but police said no officers had tasers on them that night, and police say no dash cam video was on at the time the officer drove down the street. Halsney says scanner traffic was quiet during that time.
And the family says you all threw evidence away, then wanted to release it just days after.
Items of evidentiary value are kept until they're no longer needed as evidentiary value.
Chief Idle says the department stands by calling this an accident.
There's one more piece of information to suggest most likely that this was accidental as he's walking by himself.
It wouldn't necessarily have piqued the officers' interest at all. I mean, as we drive around as patrol officers, we observe people walking down the street, and there's nothing striking about it at all.
And from this fence, the family says a few things could have happened. Tyler would have to walk across these railroad tracks and either come down this concrete incline, or someone may have brought him in a vehicle through these gates if they had the key. Now, if he was still on foot, he would be walking through this canal in water, slipping and falling, and then somehow end up all the way down there in the canal. But it's all of these unanswered questions that still has the family trying to get to the bottom of what happened.
All along, I kept telling Keith and my family, I just don't feel like something's right from the get-go.
Tyler's parents hired a private investigator, which found that per protocol of Galesburg Police, a death scene checklist should have been filled out. A sergeant confirmed that one wasn't. The investigator also found an Illinois State Police crime scene technician could have been called in, who works in the same building as the police department, but wasn't.
I feel like Tyler would have had every one of those people that have turned their backs on him, he would have had their back.
And you can find a complete list of the family's claims on our website, news3wiu.com. That's also where you will find parts 1 and 2 of our series.